Today, I'm going to explain to you who is Preto Velho, old black man, and why he is important to understanding May 13th, the day that Brazil became the last country in the Americas to abolish slavery. This happened 130 years ago in 1888. I've been living in Brazil for 3 years now, and now I understand why Preto Velho is so important for Afro-Brazilians. So it's 2018, and this year Brazil is celebrating 130 years of the abolition of slavery. But not everybody is celebrating. Come on, let's think about it. What happened after slavery ended? Afro-Brazilians received absolutely nothing. They didn't receive land, they didn't receive education, and they didn't receive any money for all that work they did. And even today, we're seeing the effects of this. Afro-Brazilians make no more than 65% of the earnings of whites in Brazil. And there's an institutionalized genocide that affects young black Brazilians and kills them every day. And let's not even talk about what seems like the absence of Afro-Brazilians from mainstream media. So should we really be celebrating the abolition of slavery? There's a lot of Afro-Brazilians who don't celebrate that day. Instead, they celebrate the day of Preto Velho, Dia de Preto Velho, which is May 13th, the same day that slavery was abolished in Brazil. Now, while Preto Velho is the most popular image, let us not forget about Preta Velha, old black woman. This is also an image that is celebrated on May 13th. It's just that you won't see her as often as you do see the old black man. Who are Preto Velho and Preta Velha? They are the manifestations of the spirits of the enslaved Africans and enslaved blacks who lived to an old age and died enslaved. And they are celebrated in the Umbanda religion. Now, the Umbanda religion should not be confused with the Candomblé religion. Umbanda is a religion that has African roots, but it combines Catholicism with spiritualism as well as syncretism. And Candomblé has its roots in Bahia, while Umbanda was actually founded right outside of Rio de Janeiro in the 1930s. When visiting Brazil, it is likely that you will come across images of Preto Velho without actually knowing that you're looking at Preto Velho. Now, when you go to a samba school or any place that is steeped in Afro-Brazilian culture, you're likely to see an older black man with white hair of the photo. You can see a photo or a figure, an older black man with white hair, kind of stumped over a little bit, who was also smoking a cigar. And sometimes you'll also see his counterpart, Preta Velha, an old black woman who may be dressed in white, also maybe sitting down or slunched over. These people, they are the spirits of people who were torn away from their homeland, who were abused, violated, but somehow they managed to survive to an old age. This is very important to note because slavery in Brazil was so brutal that, depending on the type of slavery a black person endured, gold, sugar, coffee, their average survival time after arriving in Brazil was just 10 to 15 years. So an enslaved person who survived into old age was a very special person. They carried with them the memories of their homeland. They knew how to cure people. They knew how their wisdom helped to protect the younger people on the fazenda, or the plantation as we call it in English. And perhaps most importantly, this person passed down their African heritage and culture, whether religion or dances, down through their descendants. I asked a couple of people on Instagram and on Facebook, can someone tell me exactly why Preto Velho is so important? And I actually have an Instagram friend who explained to me why Preto Velho is so important to him. Now, this Instagram friend is a follower of the Umbanda religion, and this is what he had to say about Preto Velho. I trust him. My Preto Velho calms me, comforts me, visits me. He helps me to renew my life And with simplicity, he speaks of being gracious, giving, respectful, and having peace and love. He never leaves me helpless. And for me, my Preto Velho is a spiritual guide that rules my life. Now, most Americans aren't familiar with Umbanda or Preto Velho, but I do think there is some similarity in how we view our ancestors, our deceased ancestors, and how we look to them for guidance in our lives. Now think about it. Now, you know how when we talk about a deceased grandmother or deceased grandfather, and we talk about how their spirit is with us, guiding us, giving us guidance in our present life, this is the exact same thing that is happening when Afro-Brazilians look to Preto Velho for guidance. And that is the role of Preto Velho and Preto Velha in Brazil. Preto Velhos and Preto Velhas are some of the most respected spirits because their qualities are essential to having a full and good life. Even though May 13th is the official day of Preto Velhos and Pretas Velhas, Umbanda centers throughout Brazil celebrate these spirits throughout the entire month of May. Unfortunately, I haven't had the opportunity to visit an Umbanda center yet, but I did watch a couple of videos in which Umbanda centers were celebrating these spirits, and what I noticed is that the people at the center would actually take on the physical qualities of these spirits. You know, they would hunch over and people would help them as they dance to the rhythms. So I'll link a couple of videos down below so you can actually see what goes on when a center is actually celebrating a Preto Velho or Preta Velha. You can actually see a physical representation of Preto Velho in this year's Sambojimo Carnival. The theme of this Tuichi Samba School was 130 years of the end of slavery, or not. And their opening dance act had multiple representations of Preto Velho. But besides being celebrated in Umbanda centers throughout Brazil, Quilombos also celebrate the day of Preto Velho. Now, Quilombos are usually Black communities in the interior of Brazil that are reminiscent of the self-sustaining communities of runaway slaves that happened during slavery times. And one of the most popular celebrations of Preto Velho actually happens 3 hours outside of Rio de Janeiro at the Quilombo de São José de Serra. More than 3,000 people descend on this community of 150 people for 24 hours of samba, jungle dancing, and feijoada. And the highlight of this event is a huge bonfire that is set at midnight by community members in honor of the Preto Velhos and the Preto Velhas. And after the bonfire is set, it burns well into the night until it finally goes out in the morning, and people dance jungle dancing, which is a Afro-Brazilian dance that was developed by enslaved Blacks in Brazil. Thank you so much for watching me. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and leave a comment if you have more questions about Preto Velho and Preta Velhas.